Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. Thank you so much for joining me today for our new pick a card reading on a topic I've never touched on before, which of course you can tell by the title you clicked on is something you did or do well, even if you didn't realize it. So a bit more of a reassuring, comforting reading today. So without further ado, let us pick our piles to choose from. Spirit teams of piles 1, 2, 3, could you help guide us to the right cards for them to choose their piles with? Thank you. Okay, I'm feeling that one for pile 1. And then I think that for pile 2. And let's see, for pile 3, I feel drawn to this one. And let's unveil those cards. So for pile 1 today, we have number 15, Big, Bold Vision. For pile 2 today in the middle, we have number 4, Against the Grain. And last but not least, over here on the right for pile 3 today, we have number 32, Faith in the Process. So, quick refresher, pile 1, Big Bold Vision. Pile 2, Against the Grain. And pile 3, Faith in the Process. Of course, like always, you are welcome to pause on this part of the video if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you today. But whenever you're ready, you can drop down to the description box below and or the top pinned comment beneath the video. Click on the timestamp there for your reading, and I'll see you in our little chat about something you did or do well, even if you don't realize it. See you there. Hello there, my lovely pile number 1. Welcome to your pick a card reading on the topic of something you did or do well, even if you don't realize it. As you recall, your pile leader today was number 15, Big, Bold Vision. Very gorgeous card. Lots of kind of an Egyptian theme here, with the Eye of Ra tattooed or painted on her face. And the scarab down here at the throat chakra. Beautiful. So we're going to set that down to the left, as is our custom with the pile leaders. There we go. And now let's draw your oracle cards on screen. So Spirit team for pile 1, could you please pull forth the right cards for the answer to this question? Something you did or do well that they don't realize. Thank you. Okay, there's card number 1 from the Surrender deck. We have Surrender to Miracles. I'll read that in just a moment. Actually, I'm going to put that one up there. I think that's a good spot for it. Then the Sacred Destiny deck. So from Sacred Destiny today, you received Diligence. Flying over the fields. Beautiful. Doing due diligence, surrender to miracles. Actually, we are going to put that one up here, I think. And then last but not least, we have the Citadel Oracle. Okay, there's one. We have the Orator with the reference to Hamlet here with the skull in the hand. To be or not to be, that is the question, right? And then I'm also feeling drawn to this one for you, pile 1. We have the Acolyte. So actually 2 air signs. I wonder if you are an air sign yourself, or you have a lot of air sign placement in your chart, pile number 1. We also had the throat chakra here, emphasized in Big, Bold Vision. So air signs in cartomancy tend to be people who speak very well, or people who do a lot of thinking, or people who are very logical. They have a lot of strength in the mind. So the first thing that's really popping out here, pile 1, is that I think your spirit team is really telling you you're a lot better at speaking and thinking than you think you are. Okay, because not only, like I said, there's a lot of the air placements and the throat chakra emphasis here with your Big Bold Vision with the scarab right before there. on that picture. But you also have the orator, which literally means communication and confidence. I feel like you think you speak a lot worse than you do, or like you overthink or overanalyze a lot of the way you've said things in the past. This actually could be pointing to a very specific situation, which your tarot cards will draw here in a moment. Might indicate exactly what this is talking about, because this reading is very open-ended to either overall something you do better than you think you do, or something like a specific event that went better than you think it did. But overall, though, I'm getting a feeling of, yes, you speak a lot better than you think you do. You need to be more confident in that, pile 1, is what your spirit team is saying, because confidence is also a tagline of the orator here. And then we have the acolyte, new projects and learning, once again, because of that air element, but also the learning thing. I think you're a lot smarter than you think you are. I get imposter syndrome off of this pile a lot for you, because it's like, I think you're far too hard on yourself, pile 1. Far, far, far too hard on yourself. And there's also an emphasis here on the third eye, not only in the skull and orator, but also the third eye chakra and big bold vision. And that also speaks of someone who is a lot more psychically gifted and is more able to pierce through the veil and see things spiritually a lot better than they think they do. So also, if you haven't explored a lot of psychic abilities yet, or spiritual abilities in general, or maybe you do and you just kind of doubt your ability in that, don't, because like I said, I'm seeing here a lot of ability and skill with spiritual psychic things too. So not only are you a very piercing communicator in the way that, I almost feel you're very good at communicating in the way of getting down to brass tacks. Like, some people are really good communicators in the way of, like, they're more verbose, they're more, like, purple prosy, almost kind of fancy speaking, right? But I'm really drawn to, because of the orator being a reference to Hamlet with the skull in the hand, right? To be or not to be is the famous speech that Hamlet gives when he holds the skull in his hand from, the Shakespeare play. I think you are just very good at speaking truth, very good at, like I said, just getting down to brass tacks and getting points straight across to people. So it's almost like your air strength with communication, but tempered with a little bit of the sturdiness and the down-to-earthiness of, excuse the repetition, but of earth element, right? So you might also have a lot of earth placement in your chart too, because especially too with diligence here. Diligence is kind of, it's more of an earth element trait in cartomancy, right? But then we also have the bird, which is air, flying over earth here. So it's just a lot of combination of two things, of earthy and air. So, yeah. And diligence, yes. I also think you're a lot more responsible than you think you are. It might be that you are a little bit too hard on yourself in terms of relaxing and, like, letting yourself go and enjoying things. It's like they're almost saying to let loose a little bit more, pile 1, okay? And then we have surrender to miracles, which I'll read that here like I promised. It says, be open to miracles occurring in your life. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance and banish any doubt that miracles can happen. So that almost speaks to me, too, of you being even better at things in general, not just the communication and the psychic abilities I was talking about, but like, it's almost miraculous kind of at how good you think, I flip that around, how good you are at things, there we go, I got it out, than you think you are. Like, I don't know, I just think you're far too hard on yourself, pile 1, is what I'm feeling. Let's see, anything else? And then also with the bee being as a part of her third eye and big bold vision, your pile leader. And then diligence, we think of bees as creatures that are very hardworking. They have their role in the hive. They go out, they collect the pollen, they bring it back, they make the honey and the honeycomb, etc., beeswax. And that too is like, you're like a little worker bee. Once again, it's like you work too hard sometimes. It's a compliment because your spirit team is saying, oh, wow, you're really diligent and you're like a little worker bee, but you're almost too hard on yourself with that. Maybe a little bit of a glimpse to relax more in your life, but let's see, anything else here? Beautiful. We haven't even looked at your tarot cards yet. I also think you do really well in school, pile 1, though you might already know that. because of the acolyte and new projects. There's a lot of skill here, too, in taking on new projects with this card. I think if recently maybe you've been doubting your ability to take on a new project or how well you've been doing with a new project, be it, at school or work or, depending on how that exactly applies to you, pile 1, I think this is an indication that you're doing it a lot better than you think you are. That your spirit team had this card come out because they wanted to reassure you as like a secondary message to this reading that, yeah, you're doing a lot better than you think you are with new projects. Let's see, I'll make sure I didn't miss anything just with your oracle cards. I also see a lot of ability here with pattern recognition, and I feel like you have a very analytical mind too, pile 1, that you need to laud yourself or pat yourself on the back more for. Because of the grid-like pattern of the fields beneath the bird and the diligence card, it's like you're really good at, recognizing patterns. I don't know if you're into true crime or mystery type related things, but you have a mind that's very attuned to that kind of thinking, very deep, putting puzzle pieces together and figuring out the answer to things. Very investigative is probably a good word for it, it seems. Seeing through the clouds into the pattern or seeing through the confusion into patterns. Things that a lot of other people would just not understand or put together. It's like you have just a mastermind for putting puzzles together. Yeah. Wonderful. You have a big, big brain is what I'm hearing from your spirit team here. Lots of strong air energy. Tempered with earth. So smarts and intelligence tempered to earthly pursuits is what I'm hearing. Leaps and bounds above others in that way. All right, so I'm going to draw your tarot cards to make sure, because that might indicate more of a specific situation that they're referring to for you, pile 1. Okay. I apologize for shuffling off screen, but this deck is very big, so I didn't want to mess everything up. Okay, so Spirit Team for pile 1, could you please give me around 5 cards that explains maybe a certain situation they did better, or a thing that they did better than they think they did, or maybe just more in general, what do they do better than they think they do? Okay. Oh boy. That's a lot of cards coming out at once. I think that was 3, yes. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5. Perfect. So, what are you better at than you think you are? Where did you do better? We have the Queen of Wands reversed. Okay. Reversed, that talks about a lack of confidence. Pile 1. We also had confidence here with Orator. That's a paralleled theme between these two cards. Your spirit team is saying you need to be a lot more confident about yourself than you are. So maybe, part of this thing is you don't realize how good you are at things because of self-esteem related matters, which I totally get, pile 1. I think everyone kind of struggles with self-esteem at times, but you especially, because of the Queen of Wands with the confidence tagline and Orator, it's they're really saying, you need to be more confident in things. We have the Hierophant, beautiful. Once again, more imagery of birds. So communication is reemphasized with air, and the Hierophant is about tradition. Interesting. We have the Eight of Wands, speed, being quick. Very, very quick-minded. 7 of Swords. Okay, 7 of Swords can sometimes mean deception or trickery. I think you see really clearly through deceptive things, and or you're very clever yourself, pile 1. It's you're very good at seeing through other people's deception and cleverness, and you really have a clever tongue yourself. I think you might be pretty witty, is what I'm feeling off these cards. A very witty person. Just one of those people that's very entertaining just to listen to, because everything that comes out of your mouth, I feel is just a really funny quip or something like that. And then we have, the High Priestess, beautiful. Remember I was talking about psychic abilities, spiritual abilities before? Because the High Priestess is all about intuition and gut feelings and following our intuition, right? Emphasized by the barn owl here up on the branch, because, owls are very, very good at hearing. They have, I've heard once, they even have the ability to hear the heartbeat of the prey that they go after. That's how attuned their hearing is, right? So it's you're very also good at like listening to people, listening to yourself and your intuition as well with the spiritual psychic ability thing we were talking about. I want to say because of the emphasis on hearing, it's almost like I think you have clairaudience and you're a lot better at it than you think you are, or you just haven't explored it yet is what your spirit team is saying, and saying, hey, explore that more. Work more with that ability, right? But let's see if this is a specific situation or in general. So we have, let's see, Queen of Wands, reversed, Hierophant, 8 of Wands, 7 of Swords, and 2 for the High Priestess. So the specific situation coming out here that you did better than you thought you did, or you performed better during, maybe is a better way to phrase that, pile 1, is there was some area of your life where you lacked confidence when it started. And the reason you lacked confidence in this situation was because there was someone that was more like rooted in this situation than you were, like someone who had been there a lot longer, or someone who was seen as more the experienced in the situation, especially with the Hierophant here as the second card. And what happened is that I think you were able to succeed faster than you thought you would with that 8 of Wands being the court card, and then 7 of Swords is like deception or trickery with the High Priestess. It's funny, because I think in this situation, pile 1, you know down in your gut that you did a lot better than you think you did, but there was some powerful leader involved in the situation that, like, I don't know if they deceived others into trying to convince them that you weren't as good as you were, or it was like they didn't really encourage you enough or congratulate you or compliment you enough. And so it's like you kind of felt like, with that element of the 7 of Swords, is like there was some sort of deception here, and I want to say it's almost like self-deception more than anything. Like, you thought there was nothing there, or like you hadn't succeeded as well as you did, but then it was really just the lack of involvement or like communication from that power figure. I want to say it's like either a manager of yours who in the past, like they didn't congratulate you or help you as much with a certain project at a job that you were at, or maybe it's the one you're currently at now. It could be possible, but or at the same time, it was like, or like a professor or a teacher or something along those lines. There was some authority figure in this situation, and they just did not really let on how well you were doing. Maybe it could have been out of jealousy, pile 1, or it could have been like they might have been the type of person who just didn't like communicate praise a lot. That happens too. Like, some people just are very, very slow to praise, or like nothing ever really kind of impresses them, or at least they don't admit it. Like they're more kind of stoic and less demonstrative. And so sometimes we can interpret that as, oh no, I screwed up. But really it's just that maybe they just didn't talk about it a lot. So it kind of knocked your confidence there with that Queen of Wands reversed. And like I said, we saw that as the tagline with the Orator. I want to say too, if any of you are into acting or in theater, I think you're a lot better at acting than you think you are in terms of that art. So it's like they're telling you to follow your gut deep down with that High Priestess when it comes to evaluating your own work, pile 1, because I think you tend to be a little bit too hard on yourself when you rely on outside sources for that validation. Like I was saying, that power figure with the Hierophant. Especially paying attention to the areas of your life where you do things very quickly, or you pick up things very quickly, with that 8 of Wands being the card of speed, or things happening with fast movement, right? And yeah. Very strong air vibes here with this particular pile. Communicators, listeners, thinkers. Very smart. A lot smarter than you think you are. I know I said that before, but also writing. Or not if acting. I don't know if you write screenplays. especially because of the Hamlet reference here, but the Acolyte also has a scroll. Like, so I think of writing, like writing a play, screenplays, things like that, or writing movies too, because those are obviously are like screenplays too. And it's like almost miraculous how skilled you are at some of these things, but you don't realize it because it's like other people just haven't like been willing to praise you a lot for some reason, and it's like you've been weighing too much value on what they say versus what, you know, you think down deep inside with the High Priestess, that instinct of yours. Lots of bird symbolism too. You have birds here, here, and then in your diligence card. If not acting too, it could also be singing. Something to do with like stage or entertainment. So like I said, it could be acting, singing, writing screenplays for both plays or movies, things like that. Definitely entertainment type person. That's what I'm feeling. And or if you have not explored that area of your life yet, that might be a nudge from your spirit team to try those things. You know, maybe you're really into singing, try joining a choir, things like that. See, you know, well, I guess it depends on your part. You know, might be like soprano, alto, baritone, bass, tenor, etc. You know, or an instrument of some sort. Maybe you play in an orchestra or a band. Or could try that out, yeah. And it's like there's a part of you that's just a lot more radiant than you think you are. And by radiant specifically, I mean it's like you, when you do those things that use that strength of the air element quality in yourself and your soul, you shine a lot brighter than you think you do. I think, I almost want to say it's like star quality, pile 1, and I don't say that lightly, like I swear. You know, I'm not just trying to gas you up here, but it's like, especially because I'm drawn to the fireworks on the Eight of Wands, it just makes me think of someone who just like is a bright light, like a star in the dark, or even, you know, the imagery here in both your Orator and the Acolyte, there's a lot of like light rays coming out, especially from the mind of the skull here, with that third eye. Beautiful. And there's also moon imagery too here with High Priestess has a moon, and then the Dolphins and the Miracles card have a moon behind them. And the moon in cardomancy and symbolism has a lot to do with illusions. So once again, I just think of like an actor, because what is acting but, you know, a perfected illusion, right? Of pretending to be someone else that we're not in order to create a story, right? Or same thing with writing stories. It's, you know, creating something that's an illusion that really shows the reality of the world around us even clearer than a mirror could, you know? So yeah, I want to say definitely Gemini vibes, if not other air signs. What else here? So overall, I mean, if you walk away from this reading with anything in mind, pile 1, if you've just forgotten everything else, the one sentence I want you to remember is to be more confident in your ability to speak, create, and think. Those are your top 3 strengths coming through here, of course, with the side message of a lot of like psychic spiritual skill too that maybe you're not acknowledging. Gorgeous. So that is what I will leave you with today, my beautiful pile 1. Thank you so much for tuning in for this reading. If you liked it, if it resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my lovely pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading on the topic of something you did or do well, even if you didn't realize it. Of course, your pile leader today, as you remember, was number 4, Against the Grain. All right, moving against the flow of things, we'll set it over here to the left, as is our custom with the pile leader. And let's draw your oracle cards on screen right now. So, Spirit Team for pile 2, could you please guide us to an answer on something they did or do well better than they think they do, or than they think they did? So like I said in the intro, this could be a situation that went better than you think it did, or something you do well in general that you don't realize. Okay, first card from the Surrender deck is Surrender to Success. I'll read this later, but there is some text there. So maybe you're more successful in business and career than you think you are, or something went successfully that you didn't expect it to, or you didn't think that it did. All right, oopsie, that was kind of a poor shuffle. Let's try that again. All right, perfection. Definitely that one we have. Gorgeous love. So I definitely get the vibe of a warm heart off of you, pile 2. A warm, the color I'm getting from your aura almost over right now intuitively is a lot of warm colors in general, like yellow, orange, red, a little bit. Interesting. I also feel like a lot of you have summer birthdays for some reason. Not sure why that would come out in this type of reading, but... oh boy. I can't take that many cards, so let's try that again. Spirit team, maybe 2 or 3 at most. Thank you. Okay, there's one. There we go. So the first one is the Herald with the element of water. Lots of water imagery. We have water in against the grain, and we have the Herald as the water element here. Small regrets and longings. So I think this might be a situation that they're telling you did better or went well, or more well than you expected it to. And the second card is the Acolyte. Interesting, pile 1 got this as well. With the air element, new projects and learning. And then let me read this text for you from the Surrender card. That was, you are ready to experience abundance. Don't look back at previous roadblocks or difficulties. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. You know, pile 2, I think you're gearing up to try something again that failed in the past. And I think, unlike pile 1, which is more, overall things they do better than they think they do, I think this is a particular situation that your spirit team wants to talk to you about. Though there, of course, could be some parts of the reading that pop out that are, like, in general, things you do better than you think you do. But I'm getting the feeling that, like, the thing that you think went wrong in the past actually didn't go as poorly. Well, it's not so much that it didn't go as poorly as you think that it did, but it's like it wasn't as much your fault as you think it was, is what I'm getting from your spirit team here intuitively. And going forward, I think you're trying to try a similar thing again, and it's worrying you because you're like, oh God, I feel like I was so crap at the first attempt that the second attempt I'm just terrified. But at the same time, it's like your spirit team is reaching out to reassure you, and they're saying, hey, wait a minute, pile 2. I don't think you're seeing this correctly. I think most of what went wrong with the first attempt was more out of your hands rather than of your own fault. It's like other factors were in play, and so when you try it the second time, specifically because look at surrender to success, right? It's going to go well because this time there are less factors outside of your control that will go wrong. And then you'll realize, oh, I actually am good at this thing, or I can do this thing. It's just that your confidence in doing that particular thing was kind of destroyed the first time, or at least the previous time you did it, because it didn't go so well. Yeah, it's like a complete direction change. It's like you're swimming down a river and you're kind of being swept away by it. And you think, oh God, there's nothing that I can do to change and switch this around. And then all of a sudden, kind of like the message of Against the Grain, where she goes against the flow of the river, swimming against it, it's like you turn the tide and then you're like, oh, I actually can beat this current. I actually can move forward. I'm good at this thing rather than being bad at it like I thought I was. Same thing too, because like the Herald talks about small regrets and longing. Especially because of the hair jumping over the serpents at the bottom. I think the serpents to me almost represent, like a situation where things are just kind of out of your control that snuck up on you like snakes in the grass. Like sometimes you just don't see a snake coming. A lot of times, at least with my experience with the snakes we have here in like North America, for example, they can kind of slither around in the grass. Sometimes you don't even know they're there until you hear at least like rattlesnakes in North America. You hear the rattle going and you're like, oh crap. And then it's like that thing snuck up on you like a rattlesnake. And then you heard the rattle and you're like, oh crap. But that doesn't mean that you're bad at it, pile number 2. At all. And 2, with new projects and learning with the Acolyte, I think they're telling you need to be easier on yourself for what happened in the past, because I think it might have been someone new to you the first time you attempted it, hence new projects. And it's just, sometimes you just have to do things multiple times. And it's not that you failed, it's just that you learned. Okay. A lot of failure, really what it is we should rename it to a time period of learning rather than failing. Like a learning moment rather than a failure is what they're telling me to switch the terminology to for you in your own mind. Being easier on yourself. And love, too. Love can also mean that maybe it was a relationship that didn't go so well and you blamed yourself. And they're saying, maybe another one's cropping up and you're fearing failure in this area because you're like, oh man, I think I was the one that dropped the ball in that last relationship or that last date that didn't go so well. But it was just like factors out of your control. And so they're saying this time you'll have success because it wasn't you that failed. I also get the sense of a very gentle soul off of you, pile 2. Very soft-spoken. It's like, this is going to sound really odd, pile 2, but it's like when I think of the vibe coming off of your spirit with this reading, I think of like warm fuzzy kittens. That sounds really weird, and you're probably like, what the heck? You're gonna like click off the reading and you're like, this reading is weird. But no, really though, it's like warm fuzzy kittens. Like that, you sometimes you meet people and they just give you that really warm fuzzy vibe of like, oh, this is a very safe, nice person to be around. That's kind of what I'm getting off of you, pile 2. Like very sweet people. Very sweet. Very, very, the word coming forward is sugar. Very sweet. Beautiful. And then let's pull out your tarot cards, because that will also help us define more about things that you do better than you think you do, or it might elaborate more on this particular situation, where it's like the second attempt will go a lot better than the first, or at least better than the prior. So Spirit Team for pile 2, could you give us around 5 cards that explains more about either things they think they don't do very well, but they do, or maybe on the situation we were talking about. Thank you. Okay, that one almost flipped over. Okay. Oh my god. That is quite the shuffle here. We have... Yeah, I remember... Okay, the Lovers reversed. I think it was a relationship that didn't go well, pile 2. It doesn't necessarily mean a romantic one, but just relationships in general. And then, yep, we have the Devil. Okay, Devil. Interesting. Definitely this one wants to pop out. 3, 4, and I'm going to draw this one back here. 5. Okay, what else do we have? Yeah, definitely some sort of relationship. And the Devil is the things that bind or chain us. It's like the failure in that relationship, or once again, I don't even want to use the word failure because it wasn't a failure on your part, pile 2. It bound you. It's paralyzed you a bit with the Devil, because the Devil is the things that chain us and hold us back, right? Then we have the 7 of Pentacles, okay, planting seeds for the future, like the bird's eggs in the nest. Lots of water imagery once again. Even like the river here with the... Remember I was talking about like you flowing against the river? We have a river here in the Lovers reversed with the otters, or I think they're otters. They could be weasels looking at each other across the water here. Maybe you are a water sign, pile 2. Of course, we think King of Swords, yep, thinking it through. And then we have the 7 of Swords, deception. Yeah, you are deceiving yourself a little bit in terms of thinking it was your fault, but we already talked about that. So, let's see, bad relationship. And then the Devil holding us back, chaining us, preventing us from planting seeds for the future. And then the King of Swords. It's almost like there's a part of you that's thinking that previous failed attempt through too much here with the King of Swords. Because it's like, I feel, the imagery I'm seeing is like you going over and over and over again in your mind. What went wrong? Why couldn't I have done that better? Why did that happen? Like those types of questions. And it's just like beating yourself up with it, pile 2. And it's deceptive though with that 7 of Swords. it's like you're fooling yourself. You're almost overthinking it when it's like, it wasn't your fault. Like, I know I've said that ad nauseum in this reading pile too, but your spirit guides are really emphasizing that with the Seven of Swords at the end here. It's just self-deception is what I see through the power of too much thinking with the King of Swords, because, and I want to say, the King of Swords upright is usually like a positive indicator, right, of someone who is very intelligent and smart, which, yeah, that could literally mean that you are someone who's very good at communicating and thinking logically, pile 2, but I think because of the Seven of Swords next to it, it's like you almost think so much logically about things that you can self-deceive. You can get trapped in these mind loops of, oh, it's always my fault. Oh no, I was bad. And it's like this relationship that went wrong, the situation that went wrong, planted these seeds in your mind with that Seven of Pentacles that grew and grew and grew into these, right now, I think that's a condor technically, or a vulture, kind of in the vulture family. And what does a vulture do? They're a carrion bird. So basically, they pick and they pick and they pick at things that are already dead. So it's like your mind or just keep picking and picking at this dead relationship that occurred in the past. And your spirit team is like, why are you picking at those old dusty bones? Like, there's things that are there for you in the future that are better. Like surrender to success and love and, changing the tide and things going better. But you're just so mentally trapped in it, pile 2. And I think, too, it's possible that the other person in that relationship, or it could be multiple relationships, like, say, maybe it was a friend group that you felt kind of dejected or rejected from. It's like the Seven of Swords could also mean that they deceived you into this pattern of thought. Because, a lot of times when things go wrong in a relationship, people will just keep pointing fingers, not realizing that when you point a finger, you've got, 3 pointing back at you, literally 3. And so it's like you're letting them have too much power over the way that you view yourself, pile 2. Way too much power. You're like, nope. I'm going to accept what they said about me. But it's binding you because that devil is like the chains that bind us. Planting seeds that grew into thoughts that just keep picking at the bones of things that are long dead. Leading to deception here with the Seven of Swords, yeah. So, to summarize that more, pile 2, it's like the things that you think you did badly in that last relationship or this situation, the qualities you think you lacked are actually not as lacking as you think they are, okay? So that could manifest in things like maybe you thought you weren't loving enough or sweet enough, right? Or it could be you think that, you weren't maybe like attractive enough to that partner, especially if it was like a romantic thing. Maybe you thought, oh, I'm not exciting enough, or not, insert adjective here, enough. And your spirit team is saying, yes, you are enough though, pile 2. It was not you. Not at all. Yeah, especially too, because against the grain, it's like she's following these birds too in the current. I'm sorry if you can't see that quite on screen right now, but following those thoughts. But it's interesting because they're white birds versus the dark bird of the condor or the vulture there. And what it's telling me is that if you were to try to look at it from the opposite perspective, pile 2, look at it from the perspective of maybe I'm wrong about what I think I did wrong. That might help you turn that around of, instead of going with the flow of the river of the sadness that went on or what happened, you'd realize instead of that, I guess what I'm trying to get to, this might sound kind of confusing, is that you have like this one bad thought pattern that keeps haunting you because of this. But if you were to try to flip it on its head, you would have so many more positive thought patterns that could lead you, like I said, against the flow, like your pile leader was saying, away from lacking confidence and away from lacking belief in yourself in this area of your life. Like there's so much more that you should be proud of, is what your spirit team is saying. Let's see. Those are peonies and roses, looks like. Wild roses, I believe. Let's see if there's any other message here for you, pile 2. Just want to make sure I did not miss anything. In fact, I think you brought a lot more to that relationship than the other person did, honestly. And they keep saying your cup is more full than you think it is. It's another message coming through for you, pile 2. Your cup is more full than you think it is. I'm going to reread success here as well. You're ready to experience abundance. Don't look back at previous roadblocks or difficulties. Yeah, see, it's like that past thing keeps getting in the way of doubting yourself. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. And interesting, because you have the hare over here, which, you know, bunnies, hares, they leap. That's how they run. I wonder if your spirit animal is like a hare or a rabbit, pile 2. Which is interesting, because that would be the natural prey of something like a condor or a vulture or like a bird of prey. Your trains of thoughts in this area are the antithesis to the actual quality of your soul, is what they're saying. So yeah, I mean, if you were to take anything away from this reading, pile 2 is, I mean, obviously I've said it ad nauseum, but do not doubt yourself in this area in your life in the future, because there's a lot more that you did better in terms of especially the areas of your life where you think that you weren't, insert adjective here, enough. Okay, you were enough, pile 2. You did a lot better than you think you did. You did not fail. You know, it was a learning experience rather than a failure, and I think you're far too hard on yourself with what happened, okay? To the point of where you let it haunt you and self-deceive yourself, especially with that 7 of Swords here, with the kangaroo and the, it looks like the mesa almost, yep. Binding you with that devil energy. So believe in your sweetness. Believe in the soft warmth of yourself, your invitingness, right, to others. Believe in your ability to see this situation differently, pile 2, than you've been thinking about it so far. Okay. And 2, I'm looking here again at the hare, the rabbit up here. It's like it's looking at the moon up here at the top, and it's very dazed. And moons in cartomancy usually represent illusions, okay? The things that are deceiving. The things that are in always a phase of change. They're never the same. It's like we can't see the dark side of the moon, pile 2. We can only see one side of it. And right now in this situation, you're only seeing just the side of it that you're letting your mind draw light to, but you have to look at the dark side, the other side of things you haven't illuminated yet, kind of like the dark side of the moon, going with that theme again, to see it for what it really is rather than the illusion that you've been looking at so far. And then 2, with surrender to success, it's almost like there's a sunrise in the background, a realizing, a dawning of light, and light in cartomancy means truth, okay? Because when we bring light to things, that pun, or not pun, I guess, metaphor, there you go, it literally means bringing things to light or bringing it to truth, okay? So be willing to look at this in, give yourself a dawning of truth, okay? And 2, I think you should also believe in the alluringness to others of the soft side of your nature is another aspect coming through. You might think the soft side, the sensitive side of yourself is weakness, but it's actually a strength, pile 2. Okay, that's the last message they wanted me to share with you. So that is what I will leave you with today, my wonderful pile 2. If you liked the reading, if it resonated with you, please like, comment, and or subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of something you did or do well, even if you didn't realize it. Of course, as you can recall, your pile leader was 32, faith in the process. Very beautiful imagery here. I love how the red is very stark and saturated, but everything else is grayscale. Gorgeous. So we'll set that over here to the left, as is our tradition. And we'll draw your oracle cards on the screen right now. So Spirit Team of Pile 3, could you please come through and guide us to the answer of something they did or do well better than they realized? So this could actually, Pile 3, be a situation that went well better than you think it did, or it could be just general qualities of yourself that are better than you think they are. The other piles today have seen swings in both ways. So we have surrender, worry, and then I will read this later. Surrender, worry. Something you're worried about. Okay. And then the next deck is the Sacred Destiny. Feel that one right there. We have release. So I think we're being led to a message that is about letting go of something, surrendering the worry of something. I think you're waiting on a result of some sort, Pile 3. Or feedback on something, and you're just really worried about how it's going to come through or what the result will be. Let's see what else pops out with the Citadel Oracle. And we'll take 2 today, that one for sure. We have the Masquerade with the element of water. Hiding your true self in projection. I think we have a pretty creative pile here. Perhaps talented at an art. And then we have the Founder, Foundations and Community. And then this one actually was also popping out with it, because you see how far out I went, so I'm going to take it. We have the Sleeper. So 2 elements of fire, 2 elements, or 1 element of water. Could be that you're a fire sign, Pile 3. You have a lot of fire sign placements in your chart. Fiery people are passionate, creative people. Foundations, community, cause and effect, and clarity. Yeah, it's like you're looking for clarity on something. So your spirit team is reaching out to give you that clarity today, Pile 3. And because of the theme of this reading, something you did or do well, better than you expect, right? I can already kind of tell you the message coming through is that whatever you're worried about right now is going to go a lot better or went a lot better than you think it did. Okay, so that's a good thing right off the bat. I can tell you that because that's the theme of the reading, right? And so yeah, it's either something to do with the community at large or like a group that you're a part of. Something that you're trying to start as, the founder is someone who like begins something. Especially in respect to, this is like founding a city. And I feel like you almost had to sort of lie about something because of the hiding your true self in the Masquerade. Or it's like you had to hide something. It's not necessarily a lie. I guess it's more of a negative connotation, Pile 3. Like I had to hide something. Hide nervousness or like hiding what you truly felt about something. And it's like you're hoping that it went well or like the person or the people involved like bought it. Like, and I don't mean that as in like a negative, like, oh, you're trying to deceive people and in a bad way. Shame on you. It's your spirit team is saying it's more of a, you're just hoping that it held true and you came off the right way. And they're trying to give you peace. Like the Sleeper is like closing your eyes. Like, it's going to be okay. Close your eyes. Even too, Faith in the Process, she's got her eyes closed. She might also, does she have her eyes closed in this one as well? I think they're open technically, but. And then I will read the Surrender card as I promised. Make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body, focus on the power of your heart, and have faith. Oh, faith. Look at that coming up again. Have faith that Spirit is guiding you always. Okay, you need to have more faith in yourself here, pile 3. Okay, that's definitely the other thing coming out, because I only need to have faith in the process, but having faith in things is part of the message of the Surrender Worry card. Yep. Release. Okay, letting go. It's going to be okay. They're not chiding you for worrying about it, but they empathize with you, pile 3. They're like, it's going to be okay. It's like a pat on the back type reading. Beautiful. Anything else here? And I think it's something that you're very invested in, something you're very passionate about because of the element of so much fire in this reading. Definitely see you as creative people. And you're like, dear God, please let it have gone right. Please. I don't know if it's like a last-ditch effort at something too, or it's like something you really want is riding on this going well. And there's a lot on the emphasis of the color red too. And red is about things that we're passionate about. It's about ego. It's about fire, right? Ambition and confidence. It's like a presentation of the self to the world. Funnily enough, in the way of, like I was saying, with Masquerade, kind of like a hiding true self, like a deception of some sort. And the emotion I'm getting down in my gut, empathically here for you, pile 3, is like, I don't know if it's like it's almost dread, like you're dreading something. And you're like, oh God, please let it have gone well. Please. Interesting. Let's draw your tarot cards and see what else pops out here. So Spirit Team of pile 3, could you also guide us to maybe around 5 tarot cards? That explains more about things that they're better at or went well better than they think they did. Thanks. Okay, thank you. There's one. So definitely that one, and that's number 2. 3, 4, and I'll take that one for 5. Beautimous. Okay, number 1, we have the Hierophant reversed. Knocking down tradition, knocking down power structures. Lots of bird imagery in a lot of the cards today. We have the 10 of Swords reversed. It is not the end. Okay, pile 3, if you even needed more confirmation. 10 of Swords reversed, it's not the end. It's not over. It's going to be okay. We have, okay, Temperance reversed can mean lack of balance or moderation. Maybe so much of the focus of the worry in your mind is overtaking other methods of thought. 7 of Wands reversed is you don't have to fight so hard anymore. It's going to be okay. And then we have the King of Swords, the master of the mind and communication. Yeah, and I think the major thing that you're worried about is the way you communicated something, pile 3, or the way something was said in the situation. And yeah, you came off a lot better than you thought you did. You're like, oh man, did I misspeak? Or I wonder if you almost thought you offended somebody too. It's like you're trying to keep things smooth, but you feared that you didn't. You feared that you failed in this situation in general. And then the Hierophant reversed, yeah, knocking down tradition. I think, too, you also worry because maybe in the past people have told you that, oh, you need to watch what you say around this particular thing, or, oh, you need to come off this way more, or something like that. And it's like you bucked tradition is usually what the Hierophant reversed means. You broke the tradition of maybe that issue. Or it could be if this has been like a string of bad luck you're hoping to change the tides on. That's breaking the tradition of rejection or failure in this area of your life. And yeah, 10 of Swords reverses, it's not the end. It's going to be okay. Picking up after what you thought was disappointment can also mean here. And then we have Temperance reversed as the core card. Lack of balance. Like, I wonder if you thought you came off as too much of something too eager, or like you felt like you came off as not eager enough. Yeah, because we have the sheep and the wolf here across, drinking from the same water. And we'll look at that a bit closer, because I think the reflection of the wolf is a bit different. Oh no, it's the same. Okay. Yep, the wolf and the sheep. Either too eager or not eager enough, or not aggressive enough, or too aggressive. Something to that effect. And two, if you thought that you were too defensive, you weren't, because of the Seven of Wands reversed here as this card. And two, the imagery I'm seeing intuitively is like it's like you whisked something, like you threw something, and you're hoping it lands perfectly. Like you just let something go, and you're like, oh man, I hope to God that was the right choice to just let that fly. And yes, King of Swords reversed speaks of someone who is eloquent, someone who said something very well, or someone who thought very clearly, because he is the master of the air element. Let's see, anything else here? So definitely the overall theme so far is just to have faith in what you already put out there, pile 3. Have faith that you did well. Have faith that everything will work out with this, because, yeah. Definitely you spoke better than you thought you did, or you thought better than you thought you did, or like you thought it through more than you, like maybe you felt like you didn't plan enough for this thing, and actually you did, especially with the King of Swords. You know, it could have also been an element of, because the Hierophant can also mean someone in a position of power, like institutional power over you. And I wonder if you fear that you offended someone with some sort of power with that Hierophant reverse, but it's like, it's going to be okay, because it was the right thing to do or say. So that's another aspect of this reading, is I think you tend to doubt your ability to speak, and you tend to doubt your ability to come across clearly. And your spirit team is saying that you come across a lot more clearly than you think you do. And because, too, we were talking about the deception thing before with Masquerade, it's like you blend in a lot better than you think you do. I feel like you think you stand out too much in a bad way, but actually you do really well to blend in with groups. I don't know if maybe there's some sort of social anxiety element here, too, pile 3. I feel like it's like you fear you don't blend in. You fear that you have to put on a mask. Or I know sometimes, what is that called? Sometimes people that are neurodivergent, they call it masking. When they have to kind of act as if, you know, like to blend in with society. Or what's the way, like they have to kind of, like they've learned how to act more like neurotypical people. And so, but it's like you fear that you didn't act like neurotypical enough in a situation, if that's how that applies to you, but you blended in just fine. Or it's like you didn't like stand out as much as you thought you did. Something along those lines. But yeah, it's called masking, I think, typically. So it's usually like, I usually hear, I think it's like people with either autism or like ADHD. They talk about masking a lot. At least people that I've known in my life. And it's sad because it's like, you know, you shouldn't have to like overstretch yourself just to fit in. But that's the thing, is when you're different from, you know, the mainstream of society in any way, it's like you have to kind of work to blend in, just because it's like it's the only way you can function really in a society that wasn't built, you know, exactly, you know, enough for people like you, is what I mean. Which is sad, but that's, you know, the way cookie crumbled and how our society was built, just because of pure statistics. But yeah, your spirit team is just emphasizing, like, you're doing a lot better in this area than you think you do, pile 3. So, either if you think you came off as too much of something or not enough of something, it's like you were just right. Very Goldilocks here. Like you thought it was too hot or too cold, but really it was just right. Just enough. Perfect. And I want to say, too, there's an element of, as much as you might feel self-conscious about certain parts of yourself, and people noticing those parts of yourself or not being able to, be understanding of those parts of yourself, I think what your spirit team is saying you need to realize is that you and your individuality and your creativity and the things that are really good about you shine out much clearer than you think they do. They really do. So no need to feel defensive with that Seven of Wands reversed. No need to feel like you're completely out of balance with that Temperance reversed. You're more the King of Swords, the master of communication, than you think you are. As the outcome card here in the end. Look at this Ten of Swords again here. Yeah, it's like, I think you feel like you just butchered an opportunity, but you didn't. Because that's literally what this Ten of Swords is. It's a depiction of, it's like a butcher house for chickens. It's like you see the feathers from the chickens that were, kind of morbid, but, slaughtered, right? But reversed, it's like, nope. You didn't butcher it. You did just fine. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, even the swords being held in the creatures in this picture. It's like a sword wielded well, and the swords are like air, which is communication wielded well. We'll look at the taglines of these again. So we have community and foundations. Masquerade is hiding true self, projection, and then we have the sleeper, cause and effect, and clarity. I think the resolution of the situation is going to surprise you a lot more than you think it will, pile 3. It's going to surprise you, because right now it's like you're kind of sleeping on something. Like it's like you're sleeping on understanding just how well it actually went. That's what they're telling you. Surrender your worry. It's okay. Yeah. Beautiful reading. Well, that is everything I'm seeing for you, pile 3. So thank you so much for tuning in today to this pick a card reading. If you liked it, if it resonated with you, please like, comment, and or subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as always is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, pile 3. Bye.